As our YouTube channel continues to expand, we thought it was about time we introduced you, our audience, to some of the creators of our most popular and most discussed films. Last time out, we spoke to director Tim Egan and asked him all your burning questions about the horror short film Curve. Today, we've got the director of our most viewed film on YouTube, Anne Thorens, talking about her short film Diagonale. Okay, so before we start talking about the film itself, I obviously just wanted to say congratulations for the film getting 100 million views on our YouTube channel. I mean, when we uploaded it, we never imagined it would get that many, and it's quite some number. You know, it's just taken over Taylor Swift's All Too Well, which is one of the high performing short films on YouTube, obviously. What does it mean to you as a filmmaker to know that so many people have watched your film?
In fact, it's completely crazy for me to reach a number like that. I never imagined that this film would be seen so widely. In fact, it's more than 10 times the population of my country. So yeah, it's completely crazy. And it's a huge reward for a filmmaker to know that her work is being seen and broadcast.
I mean, along with these views, your film has obviously been receiving a lot of comments. Have you followed these comments? And how do you feel about the reaction that the film has caused?
I often take a moment to read recent comments, and I've noticed that they fall into three categories. There is people who are affected by the film, whether they're men or women, in fact, and they wonder about it. And sometimes they also share their own stories. There is people who don't see the abuse and feel that the girl is responsible, or at least that the fault is shared. And many of them say that all she had to do was say no, which she actually did 6 times in the film. But this is not heard, neither by the character nor by these viewers. And that's really interesting. This is not heard. And finally, a section of the population who apparently don't even realize there's a problem, and they talk about a hot and sexy film. And I think that's the most problematic part for me. It's more or less the same feedback I've had at festivals. I think it's interesting to see that this film questions people intimately about their relationships.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. You know, I mean, I moderate the comments on our YouTube channel, and there's always quite a few I thought about. Okay, should I delete that? But I think the important thing is it starts a conversation. So with that in mind, was it always your aim for the film to start a conversation around these themes of relationships and consent?
Yes, absolutely. This film is conceived as a question, not a judgment, not an answer. If it makes people question their intimate relationships, then it's a great success, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. It's, I think, too easy to think that you are a strong woman or you are a good guy, and that rape or sexual violence doesn't concern you. It concerns everybody, everywhere.
So when we first featured the film on Short of the Week, obviously we asked you some questions about it, and you mentioned that it was inspired by a personal experience. So I was just wondering, how was the process of directing something that was so kind of deeply personal to you? That must stir up a lot of emotions.
Well, to be honest, no. I think that making this film, which was my very first film, took me so much energy and concentration that I didn't go back into my own experience. There's also the fact that, unfortunately, this form of abuse is so widespread that it's almost commonplace, which is anything but normal, but still is.
When doing these interviews, I obviously like to look at the comments on YouTube. And a lot of our viewers have remarked on the impact of the performances, and they are fantastic. You know, performance is really, really important. How did you work with your actors to make sure they were both comfortable but their performances were also authentic?
It was a very big challenge. Leonore, the actress, and Cyprien, the actor, they didn't know each other before the shoot. So we proceeded in several stages, starting with discussion between the three of us. And it was necessary to organize the body movements between the two actors, especially as it was a long shot. And I wanted to avoid at all costs recreating an abuse when shooting the film. So there is also, I'm an actress myself, and I know how stressful that kind of scene can be. So they had to know exactly what was going to happen so that they could concentrate on their performance without being afraid of overstepping their partner's intimate limits. We also worked with a small crew. They were wearing 2 layers of underwear to avoid nudity as long as possible. But if I had to do it all again today, I think I'd ask an intimacy coach to join us on the set, because even with all this precaution, it was still difficult for them and for all of us.
In particular, for me, I mean, I've watched the film, I don't know, at least over 20 times now. And the one thing that always strikes me, that always kind of leaves the lasting impact, is the look on your lead actress's face right in that final moment. It's really, for me, that lends the film its impact. What she says without saying anything at all. I mean, how much work and focus did you put on getting that final moment just right?
In fact, I couldn't stop shooting until I had that look, because the whole film depends on that last look, and without it, the film's message changed completely and it's not working anymore. So it was the 12th take, and I knew straight away that it was the good one and that I wanted this shoot. But it's funny because the last shoot was quite aggressive from the lead actor, and a lot of people advised me to choose that one because it was more powerful, more strong. But I wanted people to feel related to this situation, a very common situation.
It definitely works in that respect. So, I mean, with regards to your shoot, obviously the film is shot in one long take. What was the thinking behind this approach?
It was a suggestion from my DOP, and I agreed with it right away because it suited the intention of the film. By starting out with a banal, positive situation, we slide it into an abusive relationship without having had time to understand what has happened. And I wanted to capture the viewer in this movement, this diagonal that starts with a wide angle and ends with a very, very close-up of the girl's eyes. And of course, that's why I called the film Diagonale.
For me personally, what I love about Diagonale is the impact it has in such a short time. It has very few lines of dialogue, but it lands its message. But I also really like the fact that it feels like a short film and not a precursor to something larger. It feels like the entirety of the story is captured in that duration. Sure, we could find out more about the couple, what happened before that event, what happens after. But, when I think about it, would that add to the story? However, were there any thoughts in mind about expanding that story? Has there been any offers to expand it and take it further?
Not at all. There was never any question of developing Diagonale in a longer format. I believe that the message of the film is contained in these 6 minutes. On other hand, I believe that the interest of a short film is to be short and not to carry too many subjects at once. And I always try to remove everything I can in my work. I cut, in fact, 2 more lines of dialogue just before shooting the film. So I try always to be as short as possible. But Diagonale was my first film, and the success of the film has given me legitimacy in the industry that allows me to continue working on other films. So I had the possibility to do 3 more shorts. I'm going to shoot my 5th one next summer. And I am developing right now my first feature, and it's a drama between Switzerland and France, and we should shoot this one in early 2026. So yeah, that's a lot of nice opportunities.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the interview. If you're yet to check out Diagonale, click on the link above to view the film, or subscribe to our channel for more short films and interviews.